times of sharing. 旅人ASEAN.
ASEAN Breakfast Call. First and foremost news from Southeast Asia.
Morning, this is Arlene.
Good morning, this is Grace.
Oh my god, I forgot how to say good morning in Korean. Just now you just taught me.
Yeah, we say 좋은 아침.
좋은 아침.
Yes, you sound very foreign.
I know, I'm a foreigner. When it comes
Yes,
to...
you are.
So we are going to start our news today with a local news. So this is about the ongoing Selangor Menteri Besar fiasco.
It's been going on for some time already.
For some time already. At first, it was about trying to push in. Trying to get rid. The opposition was trying to get rid of Khalid Ibrahim, and Khalid Ibrahim eventually stepped down. And now they are trying to nominate different people to be Menteri Besar. Of course, for PKR, their foremost nominated candidate is Wan Aziza, and second in line is Azmin Ali. But for the other coalition members such as PAS and DAP, they might have different preferences. And when it comes to the Selangor Palace, which means the Sultan of Selangor, it is a bit different. It says that nominating only Wan Aziza is a treason. That's a huge accusation.
It is. And also, not only that, also she's also a female. So it comes to a bit of the differences between the male and the female when it comes to certain positions in the government.
In Korea, it's different because
you
have a female president. And in Korea, how was the transition from a male-dominated leadership towards a more female-oriented leadership?
Well, the current president, she did try a few years to come to this far, and then she was always in the position where people can actually see her in TV and the media and an article, stories about her. And in fact, her father was also an ex-president of Korea, so her impact and her presence in Korea was pretty huge in history and also in the present times. So when it came to female leader and the impact and the position of her place in the current place right now, it wasn't actually a surprise. It was more of, okay, finally it's her time to lead this country. So that's why we vote for her.
Besides Korea, I wanna highlight another one country that also is trying to be more female-oriented when it comes to the cabinet. This is actually related to Shinzo Abe of Japan. His cabinet which he just unveiled it, and a reshuffle cabinet on last Wednesday includes 5 women.
5 women.
5 women, and a lot of them hold very important positions, such as economic minister. This is something that is very unique when it comes to having more women in politics. But when it comes to Malaysia, it is still a very new phenomenon.
Also, it's also because of the culture and the society still being conservative. They have the conservatism, the culture. That's when all the government and the major sectors in Malaysia, they prefer to stay in male-dominant society. Whereas, like you mentioned, in Japan and Korea, we're slowly transforming to have more females into positions and take part in charge in society.
Nevertheless, if you look at the article written by the Sun Daily, it is stated that the Sultan was very disappointed with the action of the two parties, which means DAP and also PKR, in disobeying his decree. Only PAS has abided by his decree by submitting 3 names. Is it really important to have more than 1 names to be submitted to the Sultan? In a constitutional monarchy, the role of the king or the Sultan is not to choose who would be the next Menteri Besar or the chief minister of any state. The role of the Sultan is to honor or to bless or to appoint all these nominated Menteri Besar.
But it looks like there has been like rising a lot of issues regarding this matter, especially when the female leader has come, a female figure has come to this place. It's gotten more heated up to this matter.
One Aziza being a female is her biological attributes as a female also is being questioned by the Sultan, although not in a very direct way. This is what he said. This is to enable His Royal Highness to choose the next Menteri Besar not only by looking at which assemblyman commands the majority support in the State Assembly, but also in terms of skills, experience, integrity, and ability of an assemblyman. Such qualities are important to ensure that state administration runs smoothly for the benefits of the people of Selangor. And it's interesting that he highlighted all these different criteria to be the Menteri Besar of choice. Partly because, being a woman, you yourself will be judged like, can you handle the pressure from different groups of people, especially coming from, political groups. Being a man itself, they assume that you will have a higher command in terms of getting them to obey your command. But when it comes to women, it will be different. But I don't think I would agree with that. I'm not sure about you when it comes to this statement.
Well, I do agree with you on that because things are changing, and then when it comes to society, the culture, people mindset is influenced by certain things, and slowly when it comes to government and politics, you will see a change within a society and within a government as well. So this will be one of them in Malaysia that's been happening, and that will make a change. And then also that will lead people to understand what's going on, and then to be able to accept the next leader.
Talking about leadership, another country is changing side in terms of leadership of its own country. As you know, United Kingdom used to be a coalition of different countries. Now, no more. Although Wales and another one country is still part of Wales and England is still part of the United Kingdom, but Scotland may be opting out of the coalition of United Kingdom.
It says Scotland independence. UK promises Scotland more power if they vote no. Yes. And also the British government is scrambling to respond to a lodge in the opinion polls towards a vote for Scottish independence this month by promising a range of new powers for Scotland, as I mentioned, if it chooses to stay within the United Kingdom. And also they will have a few benefits, if I'm not mistaken, to Scotland if they stay within this UK region.
There's a lot of debate whether how much loss or win the Scottish would have, partly because there were a lot of interviews going on among the business community, and a lot of the businessmen are worried. If Scotland is its own country, what about the business, the free trade, the free moving of Scottish products will be hampered. But at the same time, Scottish people see that they want to keep their identity intact, and they want to have more control and more say of their economy.
That's why they want to be independent.
That's why they want to be independent. For example, during the reign of Margaret Thatcher, the Scottish people were among those that were severely hampered by the economic policy of Margaret Thatcher, which in fact benefit the rich.
And also, with that, less than 2 weeks to go before the vote, the poll put the yes to independence campaign on 51% and the no campaign on the 49%.
When you look at the chart from the beginning of the yes and no campaign until now, you can see a slight change, especially in the month of June. You would see that a lot of people in the beginning, they actually support for Scotland to be part of United Kingdom until recently in June, where the polls started to change. People started to question, like, maybe we should have our own country. And that's where the Yes campaign started to climbing up. And now they are leading at more than 50% of the Scottish people wanting to be independent. And it is a great thing, in fact.
And it just happened less than 2 weeks ago, so I see it's a bit of a change. They will see how people change their mindset to see how Scotland can handle the situation.
But I can't help to see, to imagine what is happening in Scotland now with Malaysia and Singapore, and also North Korea and South Korea. Like, you used to be together, now you are no longer together. It's like divorcing, you know.
It is. I mean, dividing country is a painful, but then it also depends where your directions are. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it also says in the BBC, you will see in the next few days a plan of action to give more powers to Scotland, and also Scotland will have the best of both worlds. They will both avoid the risk of separations, but have more controls over their own destiny, that, like Arlene, how you mentioned, which is where I think many Scots want to be. That's what Osborne told the BBC.
Mm-hmm. And there's also, I have to bring in Malaysia. There's also the reason why people in Sabah and Sarawak, some of them are quite unhappy because they feel like they do not have the autonomy in terms of their own economy. And I mean, breaking free is definitely not the best solution, but definitely a greater autonomy in terms of how how the state would control their economy would be better.
They will eventually have their own forte and their own strength when it comes to political power and also economy, and then they will slowly find their position after the independence.
I don't know you know this or not, but Prince William's wife just got pregnant.
Yes, I just read the news.
and why I'm bringing this up, because it's funny. One of the news that was written in one of the British news was, would the pregnancy of Kate Middleton will affect the voting in the Scottish referendum?
Will it really affect the voting?
I believe not so, but I don't know. It's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, but it's another news to Britain for sure.
We will have more reports about
yes.
about the pregnancy. The next one, which is also I want to highlight the key aspect of economy, but this time it's about financial hub. When you talk about economy, the first thing a strong economy should have a strong financial hub. And there's this one research did by this one researcher, which is published in CNN. Apparently, among the 9 financial hubs of the future, Malaysia is one of it.
Well, we should be really proud of our country.
Oh yeah, Malaysia nice now.
Yes, I am. So what is so special about the Malaysia that they have featured in this 9 finance hubs of the future?
Well, this is what is stated. Besides that, also South Korea, I just want to mention, because
one of the district Busan, not the capital.
Not the capital. One of the district. But for Kuala Lumpur, and Kuala Lumpur, of course, is part of Southeast Asia and operating relatively quiet in comparison to its southern neighbor Singapore. What sets Kuala Lumpur apart from other countries, says Saif Malik, he's the managing director and head of corporate and institutional clients for Standard Chartered Bank Malaysia, is that it's quickly becoming a leading financial center for Islamic banking, which operates with a different set of rules to traditional banking. You can't deny that when it comes to Islamic banking, Malaysia is one of the key country to push forward to make it much more streamlined, much more developed. And a lot of the Middle Eastern countries, in fact, go to Malaysia to seek advice and also gain the expertise of how to have a more comprehensive or holistic financial banking.
And in addition to that, the Malik said it is not an overnight journey, of course, but the Malaysians have realized to compete with Singapore and other long-established financial centers that have niched in the Islamic banking.
Let's talk about South Korea, which is the city of Busan. Tell me more about Busan compared to Seoul.
Busan is famous for
the Olympic.
Olympic is one of it. And the next one is its culture, language, and food. It's very famous for those culture side, but it's also one of the busiest port in Korea. So a lot of trading is going on, and it helps. It helps in terms of economies in Korea as well.
Yesterday we just talked about Gangnam.
Gangnam, the song Gangnam. Yes.
So when it comes to Busan, it seems like it is the future of the Korea's financial hub.
And it also says that Busan are putting a great deal of money and a promotional activity behind their growth as a financial center in Korea. And they are also building a dedicated area for the center and are publicizing their focus on the maritime finance, because Busan is famous for, because it's very nearby sea side, and also also in terms of trading, it's developing a lot more.
A lot of you can read more about the future, the 9 financial hub of the future on CNN's website. They are really interesting country. A lot of them are emerging economies, but a lot of them are all economies as well, like New York, London, and Hong Kong. So perhaps we will have a different sort of like economy, global economy in the future, where the money are moving towards more
Definitely.
areas that are emerging in terms of its economy.
Definitely, and then it is very expected and anticipated to see how Malaysia can develop even more, and then all the world can actually highlight Malaysia as a main finance area in the world.
And for companies, they need finance. Financial is very important, and apparently one company is investing 1 billion in a country that is our neighbor. Thailand Thailand will be having Volkswagen
Yes.
to invest 1 billion euros. Can you imagine that?
Yes, 1 billion euro will be invested to establish plant to produce more economic fuel cars in Thailand.
Well, I do not know much about cars. I have to admit that. I know I shouldn't give my personal opinion, but I have to let everyone know that I have no idea about cars. But to have Volkswagen, which is a very renowned German car company, to invest in Southeast Asia. In fact, it has its plant in Malaysia as well. It already produces its Passat, Polo, and Jetta models
I see those
in
cars
this country, in conjunction with its local partner. And while a new plant in Indonesia will take advantage of the growth demand there, a lot of emerging a lot of the top companies are now seeking plants and seeking to have to capitalize on the Southeast Asian market. And we discussed that last week on the Xiaomi handphone as well
from China. And this Volkswagen company is itself one of the biggest auto car company in the world, and the Thai government is expected to grant Volkswagen approval for the plant on Tuesday, and that's what the German magazine reported without citing sources. But this is actually a great news to Thailand itself. It will bring a lot of improvement in terms of economic side of this country.
It's also a great news for Volkswagen. It's seeking to take advantage of the tax breaks that had already attracted investment from Ford and General Motors. When it comes to countries like Thailand and also Singapore, they have one of the lowest tax breaks for companies to invest in them.
And also this company's chief executives, he also mentioned that this company really needed to expand its presence in Southeast Asia. So I'm hoping to see more of this car company coming to those regions to help all those countries to develop.
It's sad to see that there are many car companies coming in Southeast Asia, but when it comes to the road, it is still under construction or it's not well paved. Just imagine you drive, in KL, just around Kuala Lumpur. You don't have to go outskirts of Kuala Lumpur. The quality of the road is really, really bad. You will have potholes, you will have uneven paved, tarred and untarred road. Just back to question, like, what's can they fulfill the market demand, when we do not have enough good roads?
That could actually improve. They can actually consult with all those constructions, the company in terms of infrastructures and the facilities of the country. But then there are also unavoidable factors like such as climate. Climate does affect when it comes to car engine and gears. So that's when the Volkswagen did have a sort of reputations in Malaysia when it comes to a sort of problem solving. But Volkswagen is still looking for their own opportunities in other countries, especially Southeast Asia.
Especially Southeast Asia, where they have a growing number of middle class. You see that in Indonesia and also in Thailand. At the same time, you also see that a lot of the roads are not paved well. The transportation infrastructure is still at a very, I would say, low quality.
Yes, it's not up to the standard.
It's not up to the standards. Yeah. And government will is very important. When the government has a will to improve the lives of the people, infrastructure especially, then it will be better.
But Indonesia and Italian, they do welcome these companies to come in because it will definitely develop the whole country's economy as well as the quality wise as well.
Mm-hmm. And another country that also have a very lack of political will to reform itself, unfortunately, is our distant neighbor, Myanmar. Myanmar cancels plans for the 35 by-election.
Yes. Why is it happening? Is it because of the ASEAN summit happening in the next year?
I cannot answer that, but apparently the Myanmar's Union Election Commission said that it is cancelling the by-election that was scheduled for this year to fill the 35 empty parliamentary seats. It's supposed to be a way to show that in the beginning to show that Myanmar is transiting towards democracy by having free and fair elections, but it seems like the election itself is not happening. And Commission Chairman Tin A made the surprise announcement at a media briefing in Yangon.
And also he cited the reasons, one of the reasons including preparations for the 2015 general election and Myanmar's duties hosting the summit of ASEAN nation in November. An election law that the political parties field at least 3 candidates or cease to exist, a requirement described as the burdensome for the country's 67 political parties.
That's a very weird statement. For Myanmar, having election, especially in all levels like we witness in Indonesia, is very important. Myanmar is a huge country. Although it's smaller compared to Indonesia, but when it comes to the population, it's as diverse as Indonesia. Indonesia has proved the way, as reported yesterday, democracy can prosper, and especially in a diverse country. And in order for democracy to prosper, the election and other processes that strengthen democracy is important. And they are letting go by saying that, we are having this ASEAN summit and all this, and also the election in 2015. It's not really a valid reason.
Well, we'll see how it goes because he did say that he didn't specifically mention the time and the date exactly, but he said it will be pushed to 2015.
Another important information that people should know that Myanmar's legislature had 224 members in the upper house and 440 members in the lower house, but 25% of the upper and lower house are being occupied by the military appointees.
That's also another thing is that we can look at it when it comes to Myanmar government and the politics side.
Mm-hmm. And in countries in Myanmar and of course Thailand, the military is dominating and wanting to take over the whole, the whole political, yes. the whole political power or the political structure of the country. But when it comes to the Philippines, it is a bit different. The rebel groups in Mindanao is seeking for an autonomy bill.
Yes, the Philippine official says the president discreetly met with a Muslim rebel leader last week in Manila, and both helped untangle thorny differences over proposed autonomy law. They hoped it will end decades of the bloody rebellion in the south.
Mm-hmm. So, presidential advisor Teresita Deles said that the president Benigno Aquino III and Al-Hajj Murad Ibrahim of the Moro Islamic Liberation Front, or for short called MILF,
Yes.
endorsed a draft of the law at an unannounced meeting last Thursday at the Presidential Palace. The draft will be submitted to Congress this week. So MILF is seeking for autonomy.
Yes, it does. And also, according to ABC News, it says in 2018, the government and the rebels were close to signing the preliminary peace deal, but the Christian politicians questioned the legality of the pact, and which eventually fell apart. And also, it did rise and igniting the rebel attacks.
Just to give a background, last year, Malaysia brokered a negotiation where the government of Philippines, together with MILF, and the 11,000 stronghold Muslim rebel group, which actually sort of brokered a peace deal to establish a more powerful and a potentially larger Muslim autonomous region.
And also, it has killed thousands of people in resource-rich frontier regions that is home to minority Muslims and is also largely Roman Catholic nation.
So all the best for MILF. Hopefully they have their own. They have their own autonomy, and peaceful will be on the land of Mindanao. I think a lot of the Mindanao people want to have autonomy there, want to be in peace. That's all from us today. So we hope that you enjoyed the news, and don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter.
And also, please tune into our website at durianasean.com. And please do leave your feedback in terms of opinions and regarding any news that you heard from Durian ASEAN.
That's all from today. We will continue with Blast from the Grassroots.